In this video, we'll be going over GCSE style question involving functions with the inverse and composite functions. Our question: solve f of g of h of x is equal to f inverse of h of g of 2x. And we're given our three functions f of x, g of x, and h of x at the start of our question. F of x is equal to 3x, g of x is equal to x minus 3, and h of x is equal to 5x plus 4. How we're going to approach this question is we're going to isolate both the left-hand side and the right-hand side of our equation, and we're going to solve them individually. Then we're going to equate them together and solve to find x. We will start with our left-hand side. With composite functions, you would have learned that you read them from right to left. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to find h of x. So h of x here is equal to 5x plus 4. Now the next letter from right to left is g. So now we substitute h of x into the x part of our g of x function. So it will be g of h of x. And so this is equal to 5x plus 4. And we're going to put this in brackets because we're substituting this in our x value of our g of x function. And outside we have minus 3. When we simplify this down, we are left with g of h of x is equal to 5x plus 1. Now our last letter from right to left is f. So now we have to find f of g of h of x. And so the value that we have for g of h of x, we're going to substitute that into the x part of our f of x function. And so this is equal to, so we have 3 times, and then in brackets, we're going to have 5x plus 1, which is our g of h of x substituted in. This simplifies down to, so 3 times 5x is 15x, and 3 times 1 is 3, so we're left with 15x plus 3. And this is the left-hand side of our equation. Now we're going to solve the right-hand side. So our right-hand side is f inverse of h of g of x, of 2x. So we're going to start off with writing g of x. And this is equal to x minus 3. Now we will do g of 2x. And g of 2x is equal to 2x minus 3. So our 2x here has just been substituted in the place of our x. Next we're going to do h of g of x, g of 2x. And for this we're going to substitute our value of g of 2x into our h function. So we have 5 times, and then the x value we're going to put 2x minus 3. Close our brackets, and then we're going to do plus 4 at the end. And this simplifies down to, so 5 times 2x is 10x, 5 times minus 3 is minus 15, and we have plus 4 at the end. And this is equal to 10x minus 11. Now we're left with the final part of the right-hand side, our f inverse of x. So before we substitute h of g of 2x into our f inverse of x, we have to find out what f inverse of x is first, because we're only given f of x. So there are these few steps that you have to do when trying to find the inverse of a function. So let's work it out. F of x is equal to 3x. So the first step that we're going to do is we're going to substitute f of x as y, and this is equal to 3x. In other questions, you may have one of your main variables as y. In this case, use another letter that is not used and you won't get mixed up. Now for step 2, we're going to swap our x and our y values. So x is equal to 3y. So if there are more than one x values, you want to replace all of those with the letter y. For step 3, we're now going to rearrange our equation to isolate y. So we move everything over to the side with x. So in this scenario, we have y is equal to x over 3. This may be different depending on the different questions you have, but you always want to make sure that the variable that you have flipped out is the one that you are left with on its own. And for step 4, we just replace y with f inverse of x. And this is equal to x over 3. Now we know what our inverse function is. We can now substitute h of g of 2x into it. So we have f inverse of h of g of 2x. So we substitute a value of 10x minus 11 into x minus 3, x over 3, and we write that all over 3. Now we have our two sides of our equation. We have our left-hand side and we have our right-hand side. So in the original question, it says solve f of g of h of x is equal to f inverse of h of g of 2x. So now we have to equate our left-hand side and our right-hand side. Now we're going to write our values into our equation. So we have 15x plus 3, and this is our left-hand side. And this is equal to 10x minus 11 over 3. This is our right-hand side. And now what we're going to do from here is we're going to solve for x. So from here, it should be smooth sailing. So we move our 3 to the left-hand side of our equation. So we have 3 times 15x plus 3. And this is equal to 10x minus 11. We're going to expand the brackets on our left-hand side. 3 times 15x is equal to 45x, and 3 times 3 is equal to 9. So we have 45x plus 9 is equal to 10x minus 11. Now we're going to move over our integer values and our values of x so that they are on opposite sides. So our 10x moves to our left-hand side, and our plus 9 moves to the right-hand side. With this, we have 45x minus 10x, which is equal to minus 11 minus 9. Simplifying this down, we're left with 35x is equal to minus 20. X is equal to minus 20 over 35. And from here, we can simplify our fraction down. And if we can take out our common factor of 5 here. So we're left with x is equal to minus 4 over 7. And this is the value of x that fulfills the equation we have. You can always try to substitute this value of x back into the functions if you have time at the end. But this is how you will solve using composite functions and inverse functions.
As always, thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any new content.